So team, welcome to performance testing live training, day 1. Let's go to today's agenda. We will see performance testing introduction, types of performance testing, why performance testing is necessary, and lastly your queries. Okay, so whatever questions you have, please note it and we will discuss at the end of the session. Okay, so we will start with performance testing introduction. So just points mention, what is performance testing actually? Uh, it is type of non-functional testing. Then it is done to determine the system responsiveness, stability, reliability and scalability under specific user load condition. Team, please remember, here we do under some user load condition. Okay, so I will make you understand like what is responsiveness, what is stability, what is reliability and scalability. So I'm just opening the application that we are going to take when we start with the scripting phase or say the requirement gathering phase in further session. Okay, so just opening the application so you will be able to get to know what application we are going to use. Okay, this is the WebTools application. So team, this is the default application that is provided by HP with your load runner package. So whenever like I will let you know how to install, you will also get the same application and then you will be able to practice at your end as well. So just before clicking the WebTools application, just we need to make sure that the web server needs to be started for this particular default application. Okay, here right now you can see this page can't be displayed because the web server is not started. So let me start the web server. I will just search it, web tools. You can see start HP web tools server. So I will just click on it. It is started and I will just again enter. So now it should display the web application. Just a second, why it's not getting displayed? 192.168.0.102. Okay, here instead of 102 the address is changed. It's 1, instead of 104 it's 102. So we will enter. You can see the web application is displayed. So team, we are going to take this particular application going further. So whenever we talk anything regarding our performance testing activity, we will be talking with reference to web tools, how it will be done and what it will be done. Okay, so just opening the slide. First of all, performance testing is a non-functional testing, is a type of non-functional testing. It is used to determine system responsiveness. Now what is responsiveness? Now suppose we log into the application team Jojo Win and I click on login. It immediately give me the response from the server. So that is responsiveness. How quickly it is responding to your request. Okay. If this is slow, then team, like we would be thinking, okay, let's move to the other application where we get proper response within few seconds. So in this time, the users see responsiveness of the application. Otherwise, they will opt for another option where they will get good response from the server. So what this application is all about, and what business scenario we are going to cover, that we will covering in the further session. So don't worry about that. I am just explaining right now from the performance testing point of view. Then it's stability. Okay, now suppose we have done the performance testing of this application. Now we need to go this application in live, move into the production. So we will see, okay, whether our application is stable enough to go into the production. So there are two answers, okay? Just a second, I will open the notepad. So, okay, so stable enough. Have we done enough performance testing? All performance test types, say suppose, for this application with the all user load. Okay, so whether it depends on yes or no, so we have to decide. This decision would be taken by your stakeholders, but the customers, but you need to, because you are doing the performance testing, so you are getting an idea, okay, whether the application is stable or not. So say yes, there are only two, yes or no. Okay, so we need to identify, okay, we have done all kind of performance tests with different user load condition. Okay, so we are confident enough that the application will be able to handle different user load at different times. So we can think, okay, the application is stable enough to go into the production. So that is called as stability. Next is reliability. We have done all kind of performance tests. We know that application is stable, so that is reliable also. So as the application is stable, whenever we put any load on the application, it will be responding properly. So that is reliable, that it will give the response properly. Okay. And next is scalability under specific user load. Now suppose, just open it, I'm sorry. Okay, now say suppose this is a graph. Okay, this is say user load. Here you can say user load. Okay, now say suppose here I will just mention 50 and here 100. Okay, now say suppose we have tested our application with 50 users. Okay, we have done with 50 users. Now we want to check whether our application is able to run with 100 users or not at a time. So just I am here, say suppose it goes up to 80 users, say 80 user load, say suppose. Okay, and it is now working properly. If you increase the load, the performance of the application is degrading. So you can say that, okay, my application is scalable up to 80 user load. So this in terms of, you can say, web tools. We have tested the web tools with say 50 user load. Okay. Now we are going to increase the user load. We increase to 60, it's working fine. We increase to 70, it is working fine. We increase to 80, it is working fine. But above 80, it is throwing some errors, or you can say the response time is not good, it is not performing well. So at that point we can say, okay, the application is able to handle 80 user load, or it's scalable up to 80 users. Got it, team? If you have any questions, just note it down. We will discuss at the end. Okay. So that's it about to determine system responsiveness, stability, reliability, scalability under specific user load. So always remember, team, we are always putting our application under some kind of user load. It's not like that the application is running with only one user. So there's no meaning in performance testing if we do like that. In performance testing, the main idea is to determine how fast, just mention it, I will just mention it. I will just mention performance testing as PT so that it's performed to determine how fast some aspects of a system performs under a particular workload. Workload means user distribution. That we will see further what is actually workload means. Just right now remember user distribution. Now what is some aspect of the system? For say suppose web tools we had, I will just log in. Suppose we are testing it with, I'll just okay. Right now we are testing with say login business scenario. Okay. So what steps we are going to perform? It's we launch the application, we enter the credentials and click login and then click logout. Okay. So in each of this activity, you can say you will see how fast your application performs. Say we run with 50 user load, V user load. V user we always hear mention, like we mention in performance testing, V users, that is virtual user load. Okay. So 50 users, V users will launch the application. So we will check whether it is performing well, whether they are responding as well. So that is like we determine how fast some aspect of a system performs. Okay. Now we are doing performance testing. Okay. But we require some tools for doing performance testing. We cannot do performance testing without any tool. So there are different tools available in the market. So I will just mention it. LoadRunner, JMeter, NeoLoad, OpenSTA, then There are a lot of tools etc. available in the market these days, but team, LoadRunner and JMeter are the market leaders. LoadRunner is more, but both are used in majority. Okay, so big organization prefer LoadRunner as this is costly. You can say commercial. Okay, license are required for doing the execution of your performance test. And JMeter, it's either used by big organization depending on their size of the project, or small, medium size or small organization. Okay. One more thing, it's LoadRunner is the HP product, Hewlett Packard, and JMeter is Apache. So going further, like we will see when we start with the, before we start with the project, I will let you know how to download these two tools, okay, on your system. Then next, as I said, it's quite in demand nowadays given the competition in the market for high performance and high availability. So performance testing is quite in demand in the market. You go anywhere, the client demands for performance testing of the application, because these days they focus on the high performance and availability and obviously the quality. They are not okay if the quality of the application is degraded, because they will lose the user base. If their quality is degraded, they will lose their financial loss, will be there, customer loss would be there, as well as the brand name. Okay, so if performance testing, suppose, is not done, there would be financial loss, customer loss, or you say user base lost, and creditability loss, brand name, or you can say brand name. So you can imagine, if you don't do performance testing, you need to incur all these losses, and then no one will visit your application or no one will use your application. They will opt for some other options. Okay. So team, you can imagine how important performance testing is in this today's world. Okay, I hope everyone understood. Uh, we will take the questions afterwards. Next, types of performance testing. Okay, so we will see types of performance testing. Only performance testing, like we said, we need to do performance testing, but there are different types of performance testing that we need to perform. Okay, so we will see each of them. First is, we will go through what are types of performance testing, and then we will go through each of its definition. Okay, load testing, stress testing, endurance testing, volume testing, and spike testing. Now we will go through each of them individually. Okay, so I will just open the Word document so that you will be able to get it properly. Okay, so first of all we will see load testing. I will just increase the font, I think. Okay. Okay. Load testing. Okay. First, its simplest form of performance testing. Then, load testing is usually conducted to understand the behavior of the application. Under specific expected load. You can see expected load. Okay, specific expected load. So here you are aware in advance you will be targeting your application with, say suppose, I'm just mentioning the number, say suppose 50 V user load. Okay, so you are aware of that. So what is load? This load can be concurrent user or mixed transactions. I mean, concurrent user is a different, and mixed transaction, that is come under the workload. So what are concurrent users doing? Like 50 users at a time are doing one or the other activity. Users are doing at a time one or the other activity. Okay, so that is concurrent users. So we, in performance testing, we always focus on concurrent users because they are doing some or the other activity. You can say activity or action, doing activity or action at a time or other, you can say. Okay, I mentioned activity. Okay, and this will be done in some duration. Okay, like say example 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours maximum. Always remember the load test duration is maximum up to 3 hours, not more than that. Okay, and when we do the execution, we observe the response time, throughput. What is throughput? It's the bytes received from the server. Okay, that is the throughput. So all these things are monitored when we do load testing. So just to mention graphically, I will just open a new. Okay, so I will just draw. Okay, I'm just drawing graphically what is performance testing. Like, okay, say this is x-axis is the test duration and this is system load. system load, you can say. Okay, here in load testing you are aware of the expected load. So sorry team. So you say okay, normal I will just okay, this is say normal expected utilization. So that is load. This is normal utilization. Now load test, you are aware you will test for peak load condition. Okay, peak load means say suppose you are going to a bank or you are doing internet banking, say suppose, and during the last month salary gets credited. So you can say 9 to 10 a.m. your salary is credited in your account. So that is the peak load when most of the transaction or most of the users would be checking their account. So we always test with peak load condition. So you can say okay, this is okay, say this is peak load test. Okay, so normal utilization is here, like we are knowing okay we are running with 50 users, but suppose we want to do for a peak load like at a time, so then we will be testing with peak load test. Okay, then next is stress testing. So as the word says stress, we are putting more users, okay, on the application to understand the upper limit of the capacity. Like we are knowing that okay, it is taking 50 user load, but we want to see if we run with say 100 user load, what will happen. So that is we test with upper limits of capacity within the application landscape. Okay, so this is to determine, this test is done to determine first of all application robustness, okay, in terms of extreme load, because we are putting more load, okay, to see whether your application is able to take that particular load or it's not responding. Okay, so here I will just mention graphically that peak load is there, and you can see here I will just okay, maximum capacity of the application, say suppose here, so it is able to take only this particular load. But what is stress test, I will just mention it, maximum capacity. Okay, so stress test we are going just above the maximum limit, okay, to check how it is responding. So that is stress test. Sorry. Next is endurance test, or you can say soak test, okay. So okay, one thing forgot to mention, team, stress test is also done like around 3 to 4 hours to, like, we increase the users. Once we know that okay, it is going up to that particular point, then we stop the test. We just here need to determine the capacity of your application till what users they are able to take, okay. Next is endurance test or soak test. First of all, it is a long duration test, okay. Long duration means 10 or 12 hours, or even it may go to 24 hours depending on criticality of the application, okay. So suppose you say banking application, banking application should be available 24/7, okay. So that is critical application. So for banking application, you would be running the soak test for 24/7 because you want to check if it is runs for 24 hours, how it is going to respond. So here mainly we find out the memory leak problems, because if we run for so much duration, definitely there are going to be some problems. The memory will be used or it's not getting free. Also, we do like see response time, throughput, but memory leak problem we focus on, okay. So that is about endurance test, okay. Next test we going to see, just a second, what I have mentioned. Okay, volume test. So volume test, team, okay. Now say suppose you have tested with, say suppose 50 users, V users, with limited data in your database, okay. Now your customer or client is expecting, like after 6 months, the data will be increased by say 3 times, okay. So what you are going to do in this case, what you do, you increase your data beforehand. For doing the volume test, you put the data, valid data, okay, that is valid data in the database, and do the execution, so that you will be getting an idea, okay, how it is going to behave after 6 months if this kind of data is being increased. So you are doing this test beforehand to check how your application or the system is going to respond after 6 months, okay. So that is the volume test, okay. And next is the spike testing. As the name suggests, it is done by spiking the number of users. Okay, to understand the behavior of the application. Okay, so I will just mention it in the graphical. You can see the maximum capacity. Okay, but in spiking, what we do? Okay, it's not visible. We just go to the maximum, above the maximum capacity, and just go down. So it's about, sorry. Okay. So it's about spiking the number of users at a particular time. So suddenly, say suppose you, in the production, say suppose it is going well for say 1000 users, but suddenly 1200 users come, 200 extra at a particular time, then you need to check how is your system going to respond. So that is about the spike testing. Okay, will the performance suffer, or whether it will be able to handle that particular dramatic changes in the load. Will the performance suffer, or it will be able to handle dramatic changes in the load? Because this is sudden, so that is dramatic changes in the load, and not say 1-2 users, it is by 200 users the load is increasing. So we need to check whether our system is going to respond properly or not. Excuse me. So team, this is about types of performance testing. So any questions, just note it down. We will discuss it, okay, later. Next is why performance testing is necessary. Okay, why we do performance testing? Like all say, okay, you need to do performance testing for your application, but why? So there are some points, we will go through each of them. Are we ready to go live? We will ask ourselves whether this application is ready to go live. Okay, if it is ready to go live, then will our system cope up with the unexpected load, like as of you can say stress testing or spike testing? Okay. Next, will our failover work correctly or load balancing? Okay. Now, what is mean by load balancing? Say suppose, again I will open the graphical view. Okay. Say this is your application. This is the user. These are your load balancer server. Okay. Now user is putting load on your application. Just a second. User putting load on your application. Now the two servers already have say 50 users and say here 30 users. Okay, V users, sorry. User putting the load of say 20 V user. So internally it will decide to which server it should process the load. So already 50 are running, here 30 are running. So the application will, the load will be directed to this particular server. So internally, you don't need to worry about like whether the load is going to which server. So that is called as load balancing. Okay. Excuse me. Just a second. So we have seen, will our system cope up with the unexpected? Will our failure work correctly? How reliable is our system to go into the production? Okay. So here we are checking whether we are ready to go live in the production or not. Okay. Next, why is our system performance poor? So like suppose here application is already deployed, but we are checking why our system performance is poor. Okay. Whether it is because of the design, or are there any bottlenecks in the system? You need to find out why it is so. Because already your application is deployed, it's running, but still the performance is poor. So you need to find it out. Okay. Next, does our system comply with the business performance requirement? Say suppose why we say your suppose I'm taking in terms of right now Web2's application, you're testing the login scenario, business transaction, or you can see or business transaction. Okay. Okay. So what are performance requirement? Say your client says you want the login to respond within 5 seconds. Okay. So each and every activity should be completed within 5 seconds. So whether your system comply with your business performance requirement, yes or no. Okay. The business does X transaction per day. Will it be able to handle it? So as I said, like during say suppose banking application, during the peak hour, it does many transactions. So will it be able to handle that particular transaction per day or per hour on the busiest hour? Does this release perform as well live? Like you already have an application and you need to understand whether the new version is good compared to the old version. Okay. Now next, what will happen if the business grows? So that is related to say volume testing, because in that the volume is increasing after some months or say year. Okay. How does our application scale? With whether it is able to take the new increased load, or what is the maximum throughput we can handle, like concurrent users you can say, or example transaction per second. So all these things you need to understand for doing the performance testing. So it's very important, like performance testing is necessary for each and every application, you can say it. Okay. Any questions, team? That's it from my end. Let me know if you have any questions. Hello? 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 Okay. Able to hear me now, right? Okay, okay. Just let me know in chat if anyone has questions. You can ask in chat itself. Okay, I will be able to answer you. Let me know if anyone has any questions regarding today's. I think everyone understood. Okay. Just a question. How many sessions for the entire performance testing? It will be 30 plus hours. Both the tools we would be covering, Load Runner and JMeter. Okay. What are the dates? Yeah, the next would be 22nd, or you can check with the team. Okay. How to give the upper limit capacity in the stress limit. Okay, see, here we need to go on increasing the number of users till our application suffers poor performance. It's not responding properly or it's throwing error continuously. So there we can decide, okay, it's the upper limit capacity of our application. Does it answer your question? Okay, great. How long it will take for LR? It will be 15 plus hours. Okay. Welcome. Okay. I joined bit late. What is the prerequisites to learn performance testing? Do I need coding skills? No. Like you just need basic understanding of what is testing, and no actually coding is required. You will be able to learn in the training itself. Okay, it's a C language, but even if you are not aware of C language, it's okay. You will be getting to know in the load runner training itself. Okay. Okay, the next question is, when we use volume test. Okay, good question. See, after 6 months, the customer is knowing that their database or user base, say suppose, is going to increase. Okay, so they do beforehand only this kind of testing. They will let us know, okay, we are going to expect this kind of user increase in user, or this kind of increase in data in the database. So they will load the database with the data they are expecting, and then we are going to do the volume test. Okay, so this is how we do the volume test. Does it answer? Understood or still not clear? Cleared about volume test or still having questions? Hello? Everyone able to hear me? I hope everyone is able to hear me. Hello. Is everybody clear about the volume test? Any questions? Hello. I hope everyone is clear. I think no one has any questions. So we will. Hello. Okay. I think no one has questions. So we will stop here, team. Thanks everyone for your time. Okay, team. Okay. Thank you, team, for your time.